Our babies cry every night, wondering where she is.
You know, maybe I can tell him. At least we know what happened. At least we know.
Where is your heart? How can you keep something like that from a family, from 4 beautiful kids?
That feeling in your stomach is just like a pit. It just falls and it falls and it falls and it never lands.
Team Region Signal 1013, 80 Street, 2nd and 3rd, 80. Well, I hope that you've had a pretty good week so far, and hope that it continues to get better. I am obviously vacant and absent tonight without Stacy. I ask for prayers. God knows all about what's going on, and He's the only one that needs to. Um, but your prayers, your thoughts, and if you want to send her a little, hey, get better soon kind of thing on the 606 Paranormal Facebook page, I'm certain, as a matter of fact, that she'd appreciate that. This is an abbreviated version. I'll play a lot better off Stace. She's the heart of this show. I've never made any comments that would contradict that. As a matter of fact, everything I've ever said supports it. But I did want to reach out tonight, and I'm also still fighting bronchitis. And that crap takes your breath away pretty quick. So I may not respond as quickly as possible in the chats because I'm pretty much doing everything this evening. Lloyd is where he needs to be with Stacy. And I respect that. And I'm very, very happy for that. To be quite honest with you, I'd like to be there with her too right now. She's going to get better. She'll be back. But still, the thoughts and prayers. A prayer is never wasted. As long as it's in earnest. As long as it is truthful and comes from your heart. It's never wasted. But we do have a couple of things to talk about. I did put out there earlier in the chat room, and I'll check that here in a second. Excuse me. Here we go. That if you guys wanted to hear the episode in its entirety tonight, I'll play it right here, right now, on this format, on this platform. Episode 77, A Sacred Place, The Mountain Mystery of Krista Garrett. Patreon's already got it. And I was so humbled by the amount of people that reached out and talked about how much they loved the episode. Tears flowed, few smiles here and there, and I actually got, I was just literally humbled to tears, and that's no bullshit. I was literally humbled to tears when one of our patrons said, "You are our Dateline guy, Keith Morrison," which I've always had a huge respect for because Keith is great at his job. He gets to the point, and he doesn't care to ask the questions that everybody else is kind of uncomfortable with. What makes everybody else uncomfortable makes Keith Morrison smile. And that's how you've got to be sometimes. But you always temper that with a flare of compassion. Because you've got to remember, sometimes you're talking to family members, and this was especially true with Krista's case. You know, let me throw an example. I'll use myself. I know where my parents are at. I can go visit them. I can spend a day there. I can take flowers. These people can't because they don't know where she's at. The not knowing is worse than the knowing. Excuse me. I'm going to issue like 20 excuse me's preemptively just so I don't have to keep saying it because it's going to happen. That episode is going to be released worldwide Tuesday, publicly. Patreon folks got it last week sometime or other, I guess it was, or this week, whatever. But it's about an hour and 20 minutes long. And I think it gets to the heart of a lot of things, especially a lot of misconceptions about people who battle addiction. I was actually asked by somebody, well, why would you do an episode on somebody, excuse me, Why would you do an episode on somebody that had an addiction? My exact words were, and why the hell not? Does having an addiction make you any less of a human being? Because if it does, I'm screwed. See that? Smokeless tobacco. Addicted. Caffeine. Addicted. Some addictions are worse than others, depending upon how you look at it. Everybody, and I don't think that there are any exceptions to this rule with the exception of one. Everybody sins, and I'm not going to judge somebody because they sin differently than I do. Krista Garrett, to me, was and is as important as anybody else that we've done an episode on. Be it Junko Furuto, be it April Pennington, be it Amber, be it Casey, be it Derek, be it Summer, be it Tommy. Speaking of which, y'all know that Brooks Houck was arrested, right? I'm going to pop in here in the chat so I can actually kind of respond in some kind of time. I'm getting a few remarks that say that they'd like to hear it tonight. But Brooks Houck was arrested, right? Well, his lawyer, he was arrested and popped with a $10 million cash bond. I don't mean 10%. That means 10 million. That's a lot of money. So his lawyer goes in and says, Your Honor, this is unnecessary. This is undue. It's unjust. $10 million is too much money. It should be $500,000. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting here, and you know how my pathetic little twisted mind works. I'm sitting there saying, okay, so you're saying that her life wasn't worth $10 million. You're saying that her life was worth $500,000. I get the criminal justice system and innocent until proven guilty. I get that. But you know what? If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, kind of doubt it's a cow. I mean, that's just, I may eat crow on those words, but I'm saying. Yeah, it looks like brother may be going down too. That was a shock. Not a shock to me at all. I did an episode on this yet. He was a cop that got fired from the Bardstown PD, if that's the one you're talking about, Steph. Apparently, the thought is, and this is strictly a thought. They've not proven anything yet. And to my knowledge, he's not been arrested yet. But the thought of the matter is that he assisted in hiding her body. Well, now, today, this afternoon, old Houck gets arraigned. And as you can imagine, the judge looks at this and says, you want to reduce this from 10 million to 500,000. Well, there's a lot of things that His Honor and the courts have to consider. I get that. Flight risks, those kind of things. You can't really, bring your personal opinion in on this and say, by God, he's as guilty as the day is long. He ain't going nowhere, even though that's what we all have a tendency to do, myself included. But, the judge got to look at flight risk and listen to the argument of Houck's attorney and all of this other stuff. And then, but anyways, he said that he's got to have some time to look over this and think about it and make a decision on it. So we're without an answer on that one yet, even though I do strongly suspect it will be denied because Sherry Ballard, Crystal's mom, was there. Now, you talk about a woman that has walked through 15 gates of hell. Sherry Ballard. Woman is a freaking hero. Bless her heart. God love her heart and her soul. She loses her daughter. Don't know where she's at. Ain't nobody figured that out yet. Cough drop. Then her husband, Tommy, takes his grandson hunting and gets shot and killed right in front of him. Now, according to, and let me pop this up here because I did this for a reason because I'm horrible with this. I swear if I didn't write the news before I read it on the air, it would suck because I couldn't remember what day it is. Here we go. Special prosecutor Shane Young said that there could be a link between the murder of Crystal Rogers and her father, Tommy Ballard. Rogers disappeared in July of 2015. Then her father was shot and killed during a hunting trip in November of 2016. Now, the part that I left out there was his grandson was with him, a kid. I ain't talking about an 18 or 19-year-old grandson. I'm talking about a little kid. I'd love to flip the switch that puts the plungers into the son of a bitch that did that, that pulled that trigger. And that's just the truth. That child is forever changed. I watched my mom pass. It was because of natural causes, if you want to call it that. She had illness. And I knew Dad was going soon after, but this ain't that. This was God stepping in and saying, okay, you've suffered enough. It's time. What we're talking about here is another human being deciding it's okay to take the life of another. Now, if you remember back around 2015, 16, we had 4 or 5 right there in Bardstown that were just, I mean, it went ape nuts crazy up there. Jason Ellis, police officer, ambushed at an exit. Somebody put some stuff out in the middle of the road. We were coming off the exit. He gets out of his cruiser, trying to go home to his family, gets shot and killed. Then we had Samantha and Kathy Netherland, a teacher and her daughter. And I do make the correction on that, a teacher and her daughter, who was either currently or soon to be a collegiate student. Had a great future ahead of her. Bright people, good people. Then, of course, we had Crystal Rogers. And this is in no specific order, by the way. I'm not really sure. I think Crystal was first. Then Jason, and then Samantha and Kathy. But I could be wrong on the order. Anyways, and then after that, we had Tommy Ballard. And everybody is sitting there screaming, it's connected, it's connected, it's connected. I didn't get deep enough in to see where, to make the dots connect. But it feels like, yeah, that it could be. I mean, you'd have to be kind of crazy to say, no. Something's up there. Anyways, when I learned that the FBI had made an arrest that morning, and they went to the place of work, apparently, and yanked this guy out with extreme prejudice. I love the FBI. I love how they do business. I just do. And just like our state troopers, I love how they do things. I do. But they arrested him. They made sure that, hey, look, you're going to jail, and here's why. Oh, by the way, you got the right to keep your pie hole shut. If you don't, anything that comes out of there is going to be used against you in a court of law. The Miranda rights. We've all seen it. Everybody's seen Law and Order. But anyways, he goes in front of the judge today. The next hearing is actually scheduled for February. And I'm thinking, let's see, where was it at? I told you I can't remember. February 8th at 1 p.m. Show me the money. There we go. Next hearing scheduled for February 8th at 1 p.m. Houck was initially put in the Nelson County Jail, I believe it was, and transferred to Hardin County. And that's where he's at right now. And he's going to stay there until the judge rules on this. The whole thing that his attorney wants is for him to be released on a $500,000 bond and then to go forward and be able to do a work detail with a GPS thingy on the ankle. As if that can't be beat. As if there's no way around that. Do I think he should get it? No, absolutely not. Habeas corpus, right to a speedy trial, I do think he should have that. Because to be quite honest with you, I would love to see what all shakes loose Oh, is it a coincidence that somebody before Brooks Houck was arrested in connection with Crystal's disappearance and then Brooks gets arrested? No, 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 no. It's not a coincidence. A rat will cling to any part of a sinking ship he can. And don't get me wrong, I don't think the guy's a rat. I think it needs to come out. And in a perfect world that I envision, with rays of magic sunshine coming down and basking upon all of our faces, this guy would come out in open court and say, yes, I did it. Here's why I did it. Here's where you can find her. Giving the family some sense of peace, at least the decency of a proper funeral and burial, and a place that her children can go and pay their respects, and that her mother, bless her heart, I love that woman. Sherry is just, I don't know her personally, no, not yet. But I do hope to meet her one day and sit down and talk with her and have that on a episode of the Mountain Mysteries. But that has got to be one of the most courageous women I've ever heard of. And there's the world's full of people like her. You just don't hear about them very often because, thank God, they don't have to do what Sherry has had to do. And Tommy, I think the motive behind that was he was getting remarkably close to finding out who did what to his daughter. And maybe even where she was at. And if they find that body, even though 8 years have gone by, decomposition, etc., they find that body, there is enough forensic technology right now. They could throw the murderer under the jail, which is where the son of a bitch belongs. Under a jail. Whoever killed her, whether it was Houcks, whether it was Joe Dirt, Joe Smith, Joe Black, whoever. They took away a mother. They took away a daughter. They took away somebody's best friend, maybe an aunt. They took away a human being. We said the same thing on the episode about Amber Spradlin. And we said the same thing again on the episode about Krista in very similar ways. So let me jump back to chat here and let me just give a big shout out to some of you guys. Helen Prater, praying for you all. Thank you so much. Mary Ray. Hello, Mary. Stephanie Blankenship. Of course, Steph, she's a long time. Tony Fairchild, always good to see you, Tony. Been a while. Charles Bowling. Let's see here. I know some of y'all been in there for a bit. Of course, Barry Penix. We just say that he's like, excuse me, he's like Norm on Cheers. Shane Michael Grass. Shane, always good to hear from you, buddy. Rachel E. Rachel, you're as lovely as ever, and we're so glad to hear from you. Let's see here. And those are some of the people in the chat right now. And I've had a few say, like Barry said, yeah, dude, if you want to play it, play it. It's up to you, the majority. Look, if you guys just want to wait till Tuesday, that's fine. I just thought if you wanted to hear it, that's fine, because I'm not a lost ball in high weeds without Stacy, but I am, if that makes any sense. It doesn't feel right me being on here without her. So I hope that you're watching this right now, dear, and I want you to know something. I love you with all of my heart, and I miss you something fierce. And I want you to get better, get back to being you, and giving Lloyd absolutely 3 shades of hell, because he needs it. Somebody needs to keep him in line. If I could do a Gollum impersonation right now, I would call you Precious and say, yes, Precious, he needs it. So, but I'm really no good. Andy Serkis is the only one I know that can do that really well. But anyways, if you're a first time watcher, we try to do this every Thursday, but sickness, and I don't know what's going around, guys, but God, I got the bronchitis, and it went walking pneumonia, and Doc managed to straighten me out there to some degree. It just takes time. So he says. So let's talk about a few other things. Now, that episode of the podcast is actually going to be available where you can find podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. It's going to come down Tuesday, the 10th. So I hope that you guys will be there and a part of that. and check it out and download it. Sherry Ballard did request that a judge not grant the request of a lower bond for Brooks Houck. I get that. And I don't know if you guys knew anything about this or not, but Chicago Bears icon Dick Butkus passed away today, 80 years old. It's like we're losing legends. I mean, at the rate of, it's just crazy. So if you guys, and don't forget too, also, if you've not done so yet, follow us on Facebook and subscribe to the Mountain Mysteries. All that stuff's absolutely free. The episode with Crystal, I wanted to make it different than Amber's. And it was different. And it really wasn't hard. I didn't have to put a lot of effort into making it different because there were two different people. But they were both very, very loved people, very important people. And the thing that I noticed that is so smack dead on in common is the fact that Debbie, Missy, and Amber's family, and Garnet and Ashley, and the family of Krista, they're very similar in the fact that they're not giving up. A cold day will reign in hell before these families give up. Somebody will be pushing a Tecumseh snowblower straight through the gates of hell before these families quit looking and quit trying to find answers. They'll quit finding answers when they've got the answers. That's when they'll quit trying to. And when they are satisfied that they don't just have answers, that they have truthful, honest answers. And you know what? Who can blame them? I can't. I can't blame them. They are going to keep going until, yes, Tracy, I see you. You're there. They are going to keep going until they get what they deserve. And that may come, I hope, sooner than later. I really do. But I was sitting back today thinking about it, and I was like, you know, for Krista, it's been 5 years. Hi, Jessica. Tom, good to see you. It's been way too long. Everybody in Prestonsburg, Kentucky right now is scared that it's going to be swept under the rug. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think. And I'll tell you why. Because of you. Because of the people that are coming out. Because of the support of the families, the support of the people. You know what? Never, ever, ever underestimate everyday Joe and Mary. Everyday citizens, everyday people. They wake up in the morning, they have breakfast, they go to work, they come home. For the most part, you know, they get their payday, they go to the grocery store, they pay their electric bill, make their car payment. It's everyday life. Right up until you do something that they cannot stomach. A gross miscarriage of justice. There are so many hot spots with this case, with the Amber thing. Yes. There is the prominency of where it happened at a doctor's house, a dentist's house. There is also the 911 thing. There's this and there's that and there's this and there's that. And everybody is so much up in arms about it. And they're going, I'm telling you, it's like a pressure cooker. And then we moved to Krista. Oh, that's 5 years ago. My fear there, and I told the family this, and you'll hear me say it on the episode. My fear there is where she was a battling addict. That there are people that will say she doesn't matter. Nobody's going to miss her. Yeah, there was a couple of assholes that said the same thing about April Pennington. And the hand up Mona Lisa's skirt stepped in and said, I care. Because I do. You see, I'm not a soothsayer. I can't predict the future. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't read a tarot card. It's all I can do to read this freaking phone number to Westwood One. Radio stuff, yeah. I have to look at it 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, how do you spell this out on the phone? That's me. But I tell you what I do know. I do know that every single life that God in his infinite wisdom saw fit to put on this earth has purpose. It has meaning, and they are a reason that they're here. And not a one of us that I can think of, has the right to take that away. Now, I've always said I will go backwards on that when it comes to the defense of your children or your family. I get that. I get that completely. If you're defending your child, you're defending your wife, your husband, your significant other, all bets are off. I'm pretty sure that I have got stock now in Hall's cough drops. These things will never change. At the beginning of tonight's show, you saw me having the pictures up there. Had pictures of, well, I'm not going to pop them back up there, but I can see them on my home screen on my picture of April, picture of Amber, Krista, Crystal. She was a different Crystal Branham from Pikeville. Not done an episode on her yet, but oh my, it's coming. Dwayne Lovelace, Heather Teague, still breaks my heart. That one does. We recorded the interview for that one in Heather's bedroom with her mother, Sarah. And Sarah is just a wonderful person. Then the boy in the box. That was one that gave Stacy the I want to know more. And Stacy, of course, gets what she wants. Then, of course, we had Crystal Brooks. Crystal, yeah. And then Lainey Gwinner, Crystal Rogers, I'm sorry. And all these pictures, they're up there for a reason because every one of them means something. And there's so many that we've done that I've not put up there. And I didn't mess with the UFO and the train. I was asked the other day, didn't you guys do an episode on that UFO and train collision in Paintsville? And this is what I did. Yeah. I try to do my best Keanu Reeves, John Wick. Yeah. I said, do you really believe that happened? No. I said, I honestly, I don't know exactly what happened there, and it's not that I don't believe in UFOs. I'm not saying that. I think that the universe is an awful big place. If there wasn't intelligent life elsewhere, pretty big waste of space. But I think that if they're flying by this whole damn planet right now, they're going to look at this like it's the hood. You say, don't turn left. Hell no. Keep going straight. I mean, let's face it, we kill each other. Over what? Money? Religion? Politics? All very... See, I don't subscribe to religion. I subscribe to a relationship with Christ. As much as, and the reason for that is religion, I think, is fallible because it's made by man. But if you have or work on having a relationship with Jesus Christ and the Father, the Holy Spirit, just you kind of know, you just kind of feel it. I can't really explain it. You just kind of feel it, or I do. It feels like that's the right way. I'll never forget the movie The Shack. Y'all seen that? The Shack? Love that movie. There's a scene where this guy's talking to Jesus. And Jesus starts laughing. He said, I'm not looking for slaves. I'm looking for friends. Oh, that so hit home with me. Now, does that mean that we're not to follow his commandments? No, Jesus clearly said, if you love me, keep my commandments. And I've never seen a commandment of his that was out of the realm of possibilities and requests. Matter of fact, if we kept it, we'd probably all be better off. But that does include thou shalt not kill. Wouldn't that be something? So, all right, I'm going to jump back in the chat one last time before you all knew that this was going to be Kim Hamilton. It's good to see you, Kim. If anybody wants to hear the episode right now, it's a one-shot deal. It'll be released Tuesday. You guys get it anyways. But just give me 3 or 4 people, different people in there, 5 people saying yes, and I'll go ahead and play it. It's the same one. It's going to be on YouTube. For the most part, it's audio with a picture of the Mountain Mysteries logo. The rest of the time, there's a few little pictures here and there. And anyways, it's nothing. What is incredibly special is her story and the way her family tells the story. I think that it is heartbreaking. And I can see so many of the mistakes I've made throughout my life in there. They were different mistakes, but mistakes. And, you know, it's like Daddy used to say, the only people that never make a mistake is the people that never try to do anything. And that in and of itself is the greatest mistake that they'll ever make. Not trying. Made sense to me too. Yeah. You too, huh? Hello, Janine. Welcome in here. But no matter what it is, let's pray for Stace and pray that she makes a full recovery. And let's pray that she makes a full recovery quickly. I want her health back. I want her smile back. I want, you know, I want her interest in the things that she loves back. I want people happy. And right now we're going from summer to fall. And you guys know that in Kentucky, just like West Virginia, Tennessee, etc., we really don't have a fall anymore. It kind of goes from 80 degrees one day to 30 the next, kind of like I saw a state trooper. Goes from 80 to 30 and like, bam, right now. It happens. And that's exactly where this has come from, the bronchitis. 85-degree days and 50-degree mornings kind of has a tendency to do that for you. So the episode, oh, by the way, I'd like to ask you guys a favor if you could. On Spotify, even if you don't listen to it on Spotify, and I got a reason for asking this, I'm not going to get into it, but subscribe to the Mountain Mysteries on Spotify. We're really close to hitting a milestone, and I just need like another maybe 100 people, 150 people, and ask your friends to do the same if you could. And of course, you know, the majority of people listen to the podcast on Apple. I know that. And I'm just glad you're listening to it, whether you're listening to it on Apple or whatever. But if you got a minute, maybe pop in Spotify and say, yeah, subscribe. It doesn't cost you nothing. And I sure would appreciate it. But let's say prayers for Stacy. Let's show a lot of love for her. And you guys get on your Facebook tonight, send her messages on 606 Paranormal's Facebook page. Tell her that you love her, that you're thinking about her. And say, you know, for God's sakes, will you hurry up and get better so we don't have to listen to his mouth anymore? My God. He's like Carl on Sling Blade. He won't quit. It ain't got no gas in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she really does a good job about offsetting me. Angie, we hope that you get better. She says that she's in the hospital at UK. That's what I'm saying. People are sick right now. It's this change of weather, this time of year. Angie, we hope that you get better. Know that we're thinking about you and we love you bunches. And I can say that to every single one of you guys. I can say that to Janine. Janine and I have a very special bond because Trevor was very close to her and very close to me. So Trevor continues. His impact will always be felt. Ralph, Gina Frazier. Hi. I hope that you guys are doing great. And thank you all so much for being here. I have been asked, are we going to do Contact on Sunday? I can tell you that I kind of doubt it at this point because Contact is really about Stace and her gifts and her abilities. And I'm kind of like Cheech and Chong. I ain't got no gifts, man. I ain't got no abilities like that, man. No. And I ain't got no equipment like that, too. You would think, surrounded by all this stuff, I've never picked up a EVP with this microphone. I've never picked up anything like that. Stacy can walk into a room and the damn lights will flicker. They follow her. They love her. Oh, they got to know where she's going. So they follow her around. But anyways, I really do want to thank you guys for coming in tonight. But I want to give you an update about some of the things, especially, because I did a news story, and you'll hear it tomorrow if you listen to the radio station 95.5. And it talks about Brooks Houck going before the judge today. Because when I read that his attorney was trying to get that bond reduced from $10 million to $500,000, I could almost see if he wanted it reduced from 10 to 5 million, from 10 million to 5 million. But he wanted from 10 million to $500,000. You think about that number. Number one, why would they put a $10 million full cash bond on him? Number two, if what they're thinking is right, and apparently it must be pretty close because they arrested him on it, and the feds aren't going to arrest him unless they're 99.9% sure the case is going to stick. Anyways, now they're wanting to reduce it from a great big number to a little tiny number. And what happens if this guy gets out and he goes on work release and the ankle monitor mysteriously goes boom? It's still on, it's still working, but somehow, it wouldn't be the first time somebody's got out of one of those. I think he's right where he needs to be right now. Incarcerated. Until he has his day in court. And at that particular time, he has an opportunity to prove himself innocent of any such charges. Change of venue? No idea. When is the Spirit Box show on Krista going to be? Thank you so much, Kim. Soon as Stace gets better, I'm hoping that within the next week or so, she'll be better and she'll be feeling up to it. But even for a while, she's had some serious issues. Even for a while, we're going to have to keep an eye on her like a hawk. Enough to say that, and Stace, I'm sorry, I love you if you're watching this, but my happy ass is coming to see you Saturday. Because I want to know for myself. I want to wrap my arms around you and give you a big old hug. And I'm probably going to bring you a teddy bear and some chocolates and, I don't know, flowers. I'm going to bring Louis some gas. Mm-hmm. So, because God knows, with the luck he's had with cars, he needs something. So, but I hope that answers your question, Kim. That Spirit Box on Krista, we had a lot of stuff the last time we did one, which was a couple of weeks ago, because that was right before everybody got. I'll rest my case. Names came through. Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at y'all. I know y'all going, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, y'all remember that? Yeah, I remember that. Names came through. I'm really wanting to say something, but I can't. All I can say is things are closer to happening than you think. Yeah, I have that from a pretty good source. But they're not dropping this, of course. Our boys in gray and our ladies in gray, KSP, no, they ain't gonna let this slide. They don't let a speeding ticket slide most of the time. They're not gonna let this slide. So, but Kim, to answer your question once again, honey, I'm thinking hopefully it would be great if it was a week, but I don't see it being this Sunday. Maybe Sunday after. We got to give Stace time to heal and get better and get back to being her. And, her health is more important to me than anything else. But I really do appreciate the questions. And I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate the people that sent me the messages saying, especially, to be compared to Keith Morrison, I was literally brought to the point of tears because to me, that guy is so incredibly good at what he does. When I heard that, I was like, or when I read that, I was like, she said, "You are our Keith Morrison." And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Fight off the tears. But I can't thank you enough for those kind words. Because to me, that guy is freaking legend. He's just great at what he does. Just like you guys. Every single one of you watching this right now, you're great at something that you do. I've tried a lot of things in my life. This seems to be a fit for me. Being behind a microphone. I used to tell Trevor would say, man, he said, you've got the perfect voice for radio. And I said, yeah, I got the perfect face for it too. He would laugh at that. I do about anything to get a smile out of some people. So, with that being said, though, the episode will be released Tuesday. You'll be able to listen to it at your will. It doesn't cost you a nickel. Doesn't cost you a dime. I do hope you'll take the time and tell people about it. Have them listen. Share it. The family got to hear it first. Just like Debbie got to hear Amber's story first. Debbie and Melissa. The family of Krista got to hear it first. And I was very touched by their thank yous. And it's nice to know that what we do makes a difference. And I do follow their Facebook pages. And I love the fact that they are not giving up, and they won't. And they shouldn't. Who else is going to speak for them? Except for you and I. There's an old adage out there, I'm sure you've heard it. All that is required for evil to be triumphant is for good people to do nothing. It says good men, but good men, good women, good people. All we got to do is nothing. Don't have to do a thing. And it'll win. But when you come together and you start these marches and you start asking questions and you start demanding answers, no. Well, my, that changes things, doesn't it? Because let's not forget, from the president of the United States down, they serve us, we the people. You are the boss. Your taxes pay their salaries. You elect people to Congress and to Senate. They make laws based on what the people want and to protect the people. That's the whole government. That's the purpose of the government as far as I'm concerned. That's what it should be, is there to protect the citizens. It should be there to protect the citizens. I'm headed politically towards this, and I'm going to shut up right now. I am going to go ahead and step out. Let that rest, drink some more hot tea. Still got some stuff to do. Hope you guys will listen tomorrow. Hope you guys listen all the time to Q95. Just a little inside thing. We made some big steps this morning to getting things in a very, very, very good place. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be working with the radio station again, and Gormy and Carla and John. And it's a very humbling experience, and it's a blessing for me. It's a very big blessing because they're family. And we're a tiny family, but we're family. We're a tiny family with a big boom, making a big impact. That's what I hope. And that's what I hope you guys are with us too. We may be small, but we make a big impact. So for everybody who's watching the show tonight, everybody who's been in the chat, thank you so much. Remember to follow us on Facebook and keep up to date with stuff. I'm going to start posting a whole lot more here after I don't feel like death sucking on a pack of lifesavers. That's coming. And please say a prayer to our Heavenly Father for the recovering health, happiness, and love of Stacia Underwood Gullett and her husband Lloyd and her children. Faith, I just love Faith. I love Kay. I love Des. I think they're just great, great people and love them dearly. And they are definitely worth that, just like you guys are. And that leaves me with my closing thought for the night. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. He said, what you do makes all the difference. We need more people like you for real. You can do it too. Tell people about the show. Tell people to be a part of it. You don't have to get them to join Patreon or Patreon or whatever. That just helps us pay the bills on this stuff. If they hear the stories, if they hear about Krista, if they hear about Amber, if they hear about April, if they hear about Junko, if they hear about Crystal, that little baby girl that went missing that nobody has seemed to, and start asking questions. A little bit of action goes a long way. I had somebody message me the other day and said that they actually felt important when they listened to this show and when they listened to the podcast. They told me it seems like I wasn't talking at them, but to them. Well, that's because I am talking to you, not at you. You see, a long time ago, a guy who taught me so much about radio, I lost him 22 years ago. His name was Paul Fife. He put 98.9 WSIP on the air in Painesville and a station in Louisa. And I mean, I could do hours just on his story. But he told me, and he always spoke very prolifically, son, quit speaking at people. Talk to them. And he spoke with his hands. He did. I'm surprised I really didn't pick that up. But yeah, you speak to people. So when I'm doing an episode and I'm reading something, I picture myself and I'm talking to Kim or Brooke. Or maybe I'm talking to Charlie, or maybe I'm talking to Helen, or maybe I'm talking to Tracy, or maybe I'm talking to Angie Oakes, or maybe I'm talking to Ralph Jenna, or maybe Janine, or any number of you guys out there, Stephanie, Maddie. I'm talking to you. And sometimes I'm talking to when I did April, I was talking to April. You know, when I did her episode. I don't know. Seems to help. Thank you so much. Please pray for Stacia. Managed to carry on for about an hour tonight. I was thinking, I may be good for 15 minutes and that's about it. But no. If you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. That's what my mom used to say. It's true. But I am going to step out of here, finish doing what I have to do, and then maybe sit back and think about the next episode. And you guys, please feel free to message me on Facebook on the Mountain Mysteries. Offer suggestions. I had one today that I think would be a really good episode. Excuse me. So, you know, we're going to pick and choose, and I want to do something that you guys want to hear. I'd love to do one on Candy Green Gonzalez still, even though I know she has been found. Still, the mystery there is exactly who killed her, but why? We got our suspicions, but that's just it. Like the judge said, Chris, it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. Yes, Your Honor. You're right, Judge. Guys, I love every single one of you. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you letting me come into your homes tonight, or on your phones or your cars or wherever it is that you're watching this at. And I do hope to see you again very, very soon. May not be this Sunday, but once people start getting better and we're getting back, we'll be back. So until then, excuse me. Have a good night. May God bless and keep you all safe. Love you all. Thank you so much. And just like always with the Mountain Mysteries, stay mysterious.